Reddit CEO Steve Huffman announced yesterday a new content policy for the site and also new bans on 6 communities, including a racist, white supremacist subreddit. Matt Weinberger is a reporter for Business Insider and joins us now. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. This is a really interesting story, and we're going to get to why it's interesting in just a sec. Huffman pointed out that the banned subreddits didn't actually violate Reddit's policy. So on what basis is he banning these subreddits?
That's actually the really interesting part. He says that they were banned just because it took Reddit moderators too much time and energy and effort to deal with every single day. And that the fact that they existed was causing Reddit a lot of problems with recruitment. So not because of what was on them, but because of what it meant for Reddit as a company, they decided to throw the book at him.
How are Redditors reacting to the banned communities and the quarantine communities?
Oh, they're very calm. They're very reasonable. No, they hate it. It's nothing really new because the content policy is very much in line with what he proposed last month. So there are no real surprises other than those handful of communities getting banned. But they're still not a fan. There's still this very, very big perception that any kind of policing is censorship, is a limit on their free speech. And so there's a lot of unrest right now. But at the same time, Reddit's traffic has never been higher. So maybe that's just a very vocal minority who's speaking up.
You know, the censorship world just keeps getting weirder and weirder. Essentially, once upon a time, things on the internet were censored if the content was actually illegal. And then it became censored in Europe, for example, for the right to be forgotten, when the content was legal, but the link to it became illegal under certain circumstances. And now, and then the fallback, of course, with sites, including Reddit up until now, was we have a policy, and that policy is something very clear, like if it actually threatens somebody, if there's a threat of violence, or if there's an advocacy of violence, then we ban that. And now we're into a whole new weird world where it's like, oh, anything that causes us annoyance and is time-consuming for us, we're going to ban it. Now, does that mean, for example, that, let's say, pick a religion, wants to ban an alternative religion, and they muster the faithful to go and cause Reddit lots and lots of headaches? Does that mean subreddits about religion would be banned?
No, I think so. Something that Reddit's always been pretty consistent on is that as long as you keep whatever you're doing, let's not even use the religion example. Let's say that it's Facebook versus Google Plus, right? And so the Google Plus guys are getting really agitated and they want to go and they're going to go start trouble on the Facebook subreddits. As long as the conversation stays within their subreddit, Reddit doesn't really care because that's no effort. It's up to the individual community moderators, yada, yada. But it's when you start leaving your sandbox to go ruin other people's day, that's when Reddit tends to take action.
And they're not just banning, right? They're banning some communities, but then they're also doing this quarantine thing where they're making some communities basically like roped off from public Reddit.
So that opens its own can of worms because the idea is you're not going to see some of these quarantined Reddits at all if you're not logged in. And if you do log in, you have the option of manually going and seeking out whatever racist or sexist that you want, right? But you have to manually click to go into it, which is fine. It keeps it away from the public eye. But at the same time, Huffman has said that Reddit's not going to make any money off of advertising from those, which on the one hand, but on the other hand, it also means that Reddit's basically hosting these horrible communities for free, like subsidizing them almost, right? And then it becomes, why do you have them in the first place?
Now, very quickly, why not just ban racist subreddits?
Because they don't want to be, they're afraid that if they start defining things like racism, sexism, misogyny, whatever, that if they set those kind of hard limits, they're afraid of an even bigger user backlash. They would rather take a light hand and not define what is and isn't considered hate speech. You know what I mean? Because then it starts to make some people sketchy, and they're afraid that it'll cause riots basically, as people wonder what does and does not constitute racist speech or sexist speech.
Yeah, I think that would be better. I think rioting would be better than basically racism that's inconvenient as opposed to the convenient racism. So
that's kind of that.
Yeah. And so, it's a weird policy, and we'll see we'll see how he does with that.
Yes.
I'm already missing Ellen Powell because she was clear and consistent. And now this guy, this is just, and his communication on this was very muddled and weird too. So it's all very strange. We'll see if he gets away with this. Matt Weinberger's at businessinsider.com. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right.